I hope the screen is visible to everyone. So first of all, let's understand what is SAP. So I'm sure you might have heard about this terminology outside too. So people might be talking about SAP, and few people might be calling it as SAP as well. So the correct pronunciation as a consultant should always be SAP because it is not a word but it is an abbreviation for something. So let's see what exactly SAP means. SAP. So in this, S means system, A means application, P means product. So a system application product. So this is the in general abbreviation of SAP. So what is this SAP exactly and what is where is it used? What is SAP? So SAP is a German company started in the year 1972. So SAP is a software, not just a software company, but also as a business development company, which is used to improve the business processes in an organization. So in terms of if we compare this with the other coding languages that is there in the market right now, for example, be it a .NET, Java, Oracle, etc., software, C language and all. So those are all application development software. So those are focused only on your application development. But whereas SAP is used to develop your business. So any business organization who has a chain of business processes, for example, that company is into production, that company is into sales, that company is into marketing, it has an inventory that has to be looked out. So in those situations, every company will opt for an SAP. So this SAP is not just an application development, but as a business development. So it is called as a software integrated business development. So SAP has many modules as well in it. So we'll go through the each and every module briefly. But our throughout the session, we will not be looking into the other business processes or the other functional areas. So our focus will only be on the ABAP throughout the session. So who uses SAP exactly? In terms of business, which kind of business users uses this SAP? So any organization having multiple business processes will use the SAP to integrate their business processes. So what exactly is a business process? So in layman terminology and in normal terminology, for example, let's take example of a chocolate company. So in take example of a dairy milk company, for example, dairy milk chocolate. So to produce that particular chocolate, there is a sequence of steps that needs to be it needs to go through a sequence of steps, after which you will get the final product, correct? So first will be your procurement. That means I need to buy the raw materials, cocoa powder, sugar, etc., all the raw materials that are required to manufacture my product. So that is one particular business process. Then after procuring, after purchasing all the raw materials that are needed to create my product, I'll need to manufacture it. I'll need to buy some machines, put in some labor, put in a few resources there who can work on these machines and complete the product. So this is another work process or a business process. So once it is completed, it should be packaged again. So that is another business process. After packaging, we cannot directly distribute it to the retailers or the stores around the city or world. So for that, it needs to be stored somewhere for a certain period of time until and unless we get a sales order. So that is called as inventory. So inventory is a business process again, how to manage the inventory and all, where to store our stock, completed products. So that is one business process. So after selling it, after storing it, once we are getting any work order or a sales order from a consumer, we'll need to dispatch our stored product. So that is again one business process. So SAP integrates all these things into one business repository wherein everything can be done under one software. So that is the advantage of the SAP, because of which most of the companies out there are willing to have SAP as their business partner, because there is no other competitor for SAP in the market who can integrate all your work processes in such an optimistic way and give you the output. So this in general is about SAP. So is anyone having any doubts up until this point? Okay. So now, compared to other softwares, how is it better? For other ERP softwares, how is SAP better? So this is not the only ERP software. So we'll talk about what is an ERP in detail in a minute. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. So we'll look after that in a minute. But yeah, like there are other competitors to SAP too in the market, but they are not even close to what the current revenue of the SAP. So for example, we have Oracle, we have Pega, we have Salesforce. So all these are also ERP softwares too, but they are only limited to CRM, HCM, only a few modules. So we just spoke about the business processes that are there in a company, correct? So the existing software, the other competitors cannot integrate all these work processes into one single unit, but SAP has made it available that it can integrate each and every business process in your company into one single repository. So that is the benefit of choosing SAP over other softwares. Now, so I just spoke about ERP. What exactly is an ERP? Or else let's talk about what is exactly ABAP or ABAP on HANA. So ABAP is a technical module. So in SAP, we just spoke like there are many business processes, correct? Be it a sales, we have inventory, we have material management, we had HR, wherein the resources are resource data will be available. So in terms of this, where does exactly SAP come in? So SAP is a technical module wherein we try to integrate, we are the people who integrate all these business processes. So as an end user, if let's say I want to see how much amount of sales did I do in this month or in this current financial year, in that case, they cannot directly get into log into SAP, do some coding, etc., and get the report, all the details, correct? So for that reason, we as an ABAP consultant or a technical consultant, we run the scripts to get this output, to extract the data from the database and show the results as an output to the user. So that is in general responsibility of an ABAPer. So again, so we just spoke about we had coding in SAP too, right? So is it hard, or how is it compared to other uh, language softwares that we have? Compared to other coding languages, how is SAP better? So let's say C language or Python or any other Java or any other languages that you might have already heard about. So there you will have a very typical or very tricky coding structure. For example, if we take about C language, you will have multiple. Can you please go on mute? Yeah. Okay. Okay, coming back. So if you have any knowledge on C language, you might be knowing that C language is a tricky language too. So you will have multiple symbols there, like a curly braces or braces, parentheses, you need semicolons, indentation, etc., etc. things. So it is very tricky to understand those syntaxes and implement the logic, because of which most of us are afraid of coding too. Correct. So in SAP, we don't need to worry about syntaxes at all, because SAP is a independent coding language. or SAP ABAP is a independent coding language which uses English as the coding format. That means we do not have any special code symbols like pipe symbols. We do not have flower symbols, flower brackets. We don't use brackets as in such. So we only write normal English terminologies to extract the data and to show the data. So it's just basic English. So for example, as example, if I want to extract any data from database, I need to write select. If I want to update any data in the database, I'll write modify. So if I want to delete any data, I'll write delete. If I want to show the output in the output screen, I'll just write WRIT. That's it. So we will not have any printf, scanfs, will not have curly braces as in such. So this is the most easiest language to learn in compared to any other existing software technologies where the coding is required. This is the most easiest language to learn. So any doubts up until this point, anyone? Okay. So as an ABAPer, what would be our normal responsibilities in general? So as I told you, like we'll have multiple business areas wherein people will be configuring things in the SAP. So our job is to make those align, and we need to extract the data from the database. So data will be stored in the database, and our role is to extract the data from DB or database and show it to the user in readable format. Simple. So the data will be stored in the database. Every data, even a single dot, will be stored in the database. Our responsibility as an ABAPer would be to extract this data and show it in a readable format. That means it should be user friendly. Whatever the data that we are trying to show to the user should be user friendly. That is in general a responsibility of an ABAPer. So we have HANA systems as well as a non-HANA systems too. So in terms of the current market, you must have mostly heard about the HANA systems only, because HANA is the new upgraded version of the SAP. So HANA is not any rocket science. So don't think of it like a very advanced language wherein the conventional ABAP is totally different from our HANA system. So if we only learn HANA, only then we will be able to get any openings, or if we will be able to get a job only if we know HANA. There is nothing as in such. So without your core knowledge, without your normal knowledge, even though if you are having the advanced concepts of HANA, it will not be understandable. So first we'll have to start with the basics only. So first let's understand what exactly the difference is between normal system to a HANA system. HANA is nothing but an upgraded software. So we have our mobile phones, we have our laptops too, in which we have multiple softwares. Like for example, we have Android, we use iOS, iPhones, or if you are using any other mobile phones, you'll have Oxygen US, MIUI, etc., etc. So once in every 6 months or once in every year, we'll get our security updates, correct, to update our software. So what happens in those updates? We'll have it will fix the existing bugs if there are any in your phone, and it will also give you new features. One or two features it will give you in addition whenever you upgrade anything. So similar to that, SAP is also getting upgraded. So once in a while, it upgrades to a new system wherein the existing bugs will be fixed, and it will give new features with every new system. So that is what is your HANA system. So HANA is pretty stable now. So if not HANA system, what is the other system? So we in general have two systems. One is ECC system, and the second is the HANA system. So ECC and HANA. So there are not much differences in compared to the coding languages when you talk about ECC or HANA. So even if you are trained in ECC, you can also support in HANA too. But there are only a few objects. For example, there are only advanced topics which are useful to few business people, because not every other company in the world uses HANA system too. It is only with those additional features. If those additional features are required by the company, only then it will buy for a HANA license. If not, it will buy only for an ECC license too. So out there in the market, you will have opportunities for both ECC as well as HANA too. So throughout our training, we'll see both. So as the day goes by, so we'll start with the ECC, and on the same day or the next day, we'll look at how different is this in HANA system. So we'll every day we'll look at both of these versions too, because there are out there people who are looking for both the resources. Few people are looking for the resources who are trained and have experience on easy systems, and few companies are also looking for, if they are going for a new technologies, new methodology, implementing new methodologies in their company, they are looking for the HANA system. So that is the reason we look at both ECC as well as HANA systems too. So earlier we spoke about architecture, correct? I told you that it is a ERP software. SAP is an ERP software. So what does this exactly ERP means? So similar to SAP, ERP is also having a abbreviation. So E stands for enterprise, R stands for resource, P stands for planning. Enterprise is nothing but our business company is called as an enterprise. Resource means all the resources that are there in the company. For example, resource could be either a human or an inhuman thing. For example, a machine can be resource. The raw materials that you procure is also called as a resource. The actual people who work on those machines are also called as a resource. So everything that a business uses to produce the end product is called a resource. Then is the planning. So in general, this means planning the resources in an efficient and optimistic way to improve the business process is the enterprise resource planning, or ERP. Simple. So any doubts up until this point, guys? Okay. So let's look at exactly how the ERP architecture works. So first in this we'll have, so earlier we spoke about the business processes, correct? So for example, here is one business process. So these boxes, look at this as a business processes. For example, earlier we took an example of the chocolate factory, right? So let's continue with that same example only. So here, for example, first initial business process for any company would be raw materials procuring, right? So buying raw materials. Next, once we have bought our raw materials, then we'll need to process the materials. Then process the raw materials in a plant or warehouse anywhere. Then after you have done it, then you'll get the packaging, or or if you include the packaging into this, we'll have inventory. So once you store your inventory, you will have the sales. You need to sell your product. So once you have sold your product, you will get the accounting, wherein you'll get your the invoices will be generated and you will get the money. So that is basically your invoicing or accounting. So this in general is a flow for every other business process that is there. So you might not have sales in few companies, you might not have inventory in few companies, but in general This is the flow for any other company. So this buying the raw materials, after it will be processing it, then we'll storing it, then the sales, then the accounting. So integrating all these things is the ERP. So ERP stands around all these things. ERP integrates all the above work processes. So, all right. So we understood now about the ERP architecture. We know how a business works normally in general out there. So where does my ABAP comes in exactly? So your ABAP will be in the center of all these things, all these business work processes. So we are not working front end. That means we are not visible to the client. We are not visible to the users. We are working in the background to develop the reports and show them the data. That's it. So ABAP is in the middle. So this without ABAP, none of these processes can be integrated. So they will not be able to integrate any of their processes at all whatsoever. So ABAP is the most crucial and important uh, module in the SAP for any company. So for example, if my company doesn't produce anything, it is only a consultant company. In that case, you will not have raw materials, you will not have inventory, all that cases. But if even if it is a consultant company, you will need to have ABAP. So it doesn't matter whatever the business process is, whatever the company is, ABAP is the minimum or the basic SAP module that is available throughout. It will be there in every company. So example, in my if buying raw materials, here if I have two people, here three people, four people, five people, like that, SAP will be three times your work existing other function modules, functional areas. So if I'm having two or three people in other areas, ABAP will have at least three times that. So at least you'll have 9 to 10 people there. So because of that, you will have an advantage that the more openings in terms of any compared to any other module in SAP, ABAP will have a more openings in the market. So we are always on demand. So ABAP is always on demand because our hiring is more, our requirement is more, our responsibilities are less, right? So that is the reason it is better to choose ABAP in rather than comparing to any other modules out there. So you don't need to worry about, for example, ABAP is having coding. So will I be able to understand the coding? So up until what point can I understand the coding? Is it complicated? There is nothing as in such complicated in ABAP, because as we spoke earlier, it uses English as the basic communication or logical language whenever you're writing the code. So when you're writing the code or when you're reading the existing code, it will be like you're reading a sentence in a book, simply reading a sentence in a book rather than writing the code or writing complicated syntaxes. So that is as easy as ABAP can be. And can non-technical guys, for example, I'm from a mechanical background or I'm from a civil background, I'm from a triple E background, so I don't have any exposure to coding up until this point, zero knowledge about coding. So can I learn SAP? So can I learn ABAP in that case? Yes, of course you can learn, because as I told you, there is no prerequisite to learn ABAP. You don't need to have any coding language at all, because we have trained many non core guys. For example, we have trained many mechanical or civil guys who have no knowledge on ABAP, no knowledge on coding, but still we were able to train them, and they are also currently working in big MNCs too. So you don't need to worry about me understanding, will I be able to understand the ABAP or not. It is a very simple and soft language. You just need to have minimum English language, that's it. If you're having English language, knowledge on English language, if you can talk in English, if you can understand the English, then you know ABAP. Simple. So anyone has any concerns or any doubts? All right, great. So we just spoke about the functional areas and technical areas, right? So let's see how is it divided exactly. So SAP is normally divided into categorized into many modules. There are like 10 to 15 plus modules out there, technical, functional, some people we have SD, MM, OTC, etc., etc. things. But in general, SAP is categorized into two categories only. One is technical, second is functional. So in technical, we'll have ABAP, we will have basis, we will have database management or DBA, database admin, etc., etc. And in functional, we have functional, we'll have sales and distribution, we'll have material management, we'll have supply chain management, plant maintenance, finance, or accounting. And there will be many other modules too, like BODS, MDG, etc., etc. So in general, these three are the most used technical modules in any company, and these are the most used functional modules in in any company. So as an ABAPer, we already spoke about what is exactly our responsibilities will be. So we'll have minimum coding, very less coding, wherein we need to extract the data from the database. So we'll talk about what exactly is a database, how the data is stored, how to extract it in detail later too. So just giving you a high level exposure towards what exactly we do. So in ABAP, yeah, that's what, like we'll have to extract the data from the database and show it in a readable, user-friendly format to the end user. That is the responsibility of an ABAPer. Period. That's it. So one more advantage as an ABAPer you have is, so you might feel like a few people might feel like we need to have excellent communication skill to survive in the corporate world in the IT. So with ABAP you don't need that, because as I said in the earlier example, here, so all these functional areas, they will be the people who will be talking to your end users. You will never talk to the client. So client don't even know that you are there, you are working on the system. So you'll never communicate with them. So you don't need to for example, you are getting a US project or any other project that works in a different time zone than Indian time zone. In that case, you'll need to extend your work hours. You'll have to work late at nights. If you need to communicate with the users to get the requirement or understand the issue, you'll need to extend your work hours and work till late nights. But as an ABAPer, since you're not connecting with the user at all, you don't need to work late nights at all. So your functional guys will be there to take the requirement from the user. They'll explain it to you. So user will never directly contact you. Users will never directly talk to you. So it is the functional people, it is all these people, the people working in under these modules. They are the people who will take the requirement, who will understand the requirement from the user, who will make it understand to you. So the responsibility of functional guys is to take the requirement from the users and explain it to the ABAP people such that the requirement can be met. So if you're not understanding a requirement, you need to ask your functional team, but not your user, because of which you will not have much pressure on you that oh my god, okay, this user is going to escalate now. They are very furious about me. They might give a wrong feedback about me. You don't have any as in such, because the user doesn't even know you are there. Correct. So let's understand the same thing with an example. For example, let's say you have ordered a watch from an Amazon. So after the delivery, you feel like it's not working. In 3 days, it stopped working. So what you'll do? You will raise a complaint. You will call the customer service guy. Someone comes up and they'll talk. They'll understand your issue. So what is the issue exactly? Then you'll explain this is not working. It's been 3 days exactly. So the people that you talk to on your phone are called as functional consultants. So the people who answer your call or who work on your ticket actively, they are called your functional consultant. So if you are showing any rage, you might be angry to that. I ordered it with 10,000, it's worth 10,000, and in 3 days it's not working. You might be angry too, right? So functional people will take all that risk. They'll need to take that risk. They'll need to face the user, their anguishness, and they need to calm them down. So after they take the requirement, or they understand the issue, what will they do? They'll tell that, sir, don't worry, we'll raise a ticket on your behalf. Our technical team will definitely work on it and we'll give you an update soon. This is what every functional guy tells the user. So it doesn't matter if you're ordering from Amazon or any other place around the world. Every person, every customer service guy tells you the same thing, that don't worry, sir, our technical team is working on your issue. We will give you an update as soon as possible. Correct? So that technical team is you. So have you, whenever you are raising any concern in Amazon, have you ever spoke to the technical guy? Never. We'll never talk to the technical people. So they are working in the background on their own. So they don't have any pressure whatsoever, because they don't know the user at all. They don't know the urgency at all. So we work on our own terms. So there is no one to monitor us. There is no one to complain about, dude, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, user is escalating this, etc., etc. All those things you will not have to bury all those things into your head. So you can work peacefully. So that is one more advantage of ABAP. And you don't need to have excellent communication skills too. Just the basic communication skills to understand and talk to your functional people, understand the requirement and work on it. That's it. Then that is the role of an ABAPer. Then comes the basis. So basis is also a technical module, but it doesn't have any coding. So these people mostly maintain your database, or if at all there are any upgrades in the system. As I told you earlier, like we'll have periodic upgrades, like once in a 6 months or once in a year, we'll have the SAP upgrades. So basis are the team who does these upgrades, and they are the people who give your security roles or user IDs, login user IDs, all that stuff will be there. So that is managed by your basis team. Then is your database admin. So database admin team will take care about the database load activities. For example, is my database working correctly? What is the health of the database? So database is nothing but like a normal memory card in our phones, but on a very larger way. That's it. It is only used to store your data. That's it. Media, all your media will be stored in the database. They'll take care about, is my database working fine? Are there any problems? If there are any problems, do I need to run any diagnostics? After running the diagnostics, if there are any problems, they'll sort it out. That is the responsibility of your database admin team. Now coming to the in general functional areas that we are having, first is the sales and distribution, also called as SD. It is also called as SD. So these people will take care about the all the sales that are there in your company. For example, that it's there in the name itself, sales and distribution. So whenever I'm getting any order from the user that I need this product, then a sales order will be created. So all those processes will be taken care by the sales and distribution team. Then is the material management team. So in this example, we have seen we have materials here, buying the raw materials and processing the raw materials. So these two will be taken care by our material management people. That is the MM team, also called as MM, SAP MM. Then we have the supply chain management. Means, so all these processes, all these modules has to go through one particular cycle, correct? So after raw material, I have bought it, it should be moved to my machines. After machine, it should move to my inventory, it should move to sales, it should move to this. So this particular, whatever the transportation that is involved here, is called as logistics in normal terms, or delivery exact in normal terms. But in terms of SAP, it is called as supply chain management. So that means I'm to the required people in a order chain, in chain manner. So one after the other, from here I'm moving to here, from here it's here, here to here, here to here. So it's moving in a chain process, one after the other. So supplying the materials in order is the supply chain management people's responsibility. Then is the plant maintenance. So here you will have a plant in which all your raw materials will be processed, your materials will be available. So all the management activities that are taken care inside your plant are taken care by your plant maintenance people. Then finance and accounting. Finance and accounting is always, sorry, yeah, finance and accounting is the final business process for any company. So any company will start with the raw materials, then it will end with the finance and accounting, correct? Because see, once you have received your amount, once you have received your salary or anything, that's it, that's where it ends, right? After that there is nothing to be done. So once you have received your money for the product that you're selling, that's where the business process ends. That's it. So that is a finance and accounting. So all these functional areas will need to have good communication skills, because you will need to talk to regional people, be it Indian. If your client is from India, then you'll need to talk to Indian people, which is somewhat easier. But if there are many global projects out there in the market too, so for that you'll need to have excellent communication skills, because every region will have a different accent also whenever they are talking in English too. So just because it's English doesn't mean everyone is having the same accent over it. So a person sitting in the US will have a different accent than a person sitting in the Australia. So you'll have need to have excellent communication skill and excellent delivery skills to serve as a functional consultant. But as a technical consultant, you don't need all those things. Just understand about the basic language of ABAP, how things works, what is the flow, just basic things. So you don't need to understand the syntaxes also. You don't need to remember the syntaxes also. Syntaxes are built in the system. So if you're not understanding how to write the code, there is a keyword called F1 on your keyboard. If you just click on F1, it will show you the syntax also, how to write the code. So everything is easy in ABAP. You don't need to worry कि, okay, I forgot this syntax, how to write it. You don't need to Google it to find the syntax, or you don't need to ask your colleague to find the syntax too. So just press F1 on your keyboard and you'll get the syntax. Just copy it and paste it in your code. That's it. Do the copy paste and your code will work. One more advantage is, since I said most of the openings are there for ABAP, if you people are stuck at any point, you will have many people that can help you out. For example, you are having an issue. Once you get the job, you are having an issue, you're not able to understand something, or you're stuck at one point. Then someone has to be there to guide you and take you to the resolution, right? Push you a little. So since these people are in other functional areas, you have limited number of people. There are not many people who can help you out. But since ABAP team is having the most number of resources, there will always be people who can help you out. So you'll have more colleagues in ABAP. So any doubt until this point, guys? All right, so let's have a brief summary of what we have discussed till now. So, firstly, what is SAP? We understood what is SAP. SAP stands for System Application and Product, and SAP is a German company that was started in the year 1972. And this SAP system or SAP software is used to develop the business processes. So, it is a software integrated business development that is used to improve the business processes in an organization. And this is an ERP software. What is an ERP software? ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning, that is used to automate or enhance your business processes in an optimistic way. That is your ERP software. And compared to the other languages, your ABAP language is far more easier, because you don't need to have any prerequisite knowledge on any existing software, or you don't need to be from a technical background also. Even if you are from an MBA background or from a degree background also, you can understand this, because as a trainer we have seen people coming from the degree or MBA background too, who want to settle in the IT background, which is completely normal. So in terms of that also, this will be a lot more easier, because ABAP is having very less coding syntaxes and all, and easier to understand language too. And SAP is an independent language, so you don't need to worry ki, as I said, there is no prerequisite, zero prerequisite that you need to have coding knowledge. No knowledge is required. You can come with a fresh mind and understand ABAP. Simple. And what are the responsibilities of an ABAPer? Simple. The data will be stored in the database. Someone will be entering the data into the database. You will not be doing it too. You will not be maintaining the data. Someone will be maintaining it. Your job is to extract the data and show it to the users in a user-friendly manner. Simple. That's it. And we have two versions of SAP currently. That is ECC. ECC also is also called as R3 system, and HANA system is also called as S4 system. Just alias names of these systems. This is also called as R3 and this is called as S4. There is a reason why it's called 3, because there is an architecture that is behind this. But yeah, well, let's not look into everything right now. So just for your understanding, I'm telling you that this is also called as R3 system and this is called as an S4 system. So the only difference or the key difference between ECC and HANA is an upgraded software. In HANA, you will have the database HANA, but in ECC, it uses the database of either SQL database or Oracle database. So that is a key difference between your ECC and HANA system. Then, what are the categories in ABAP? So first, in general, we'll have two categories, that is your functional and your technical. So in technical, we'll have many. Out of those, these three are the common ones: ABAP, Basis, and DBA. The responsibility of ABAPer is to extract the data and show it in a readable format. The responsibility of a basis is mostly your upgrade activities and your login credentials, these sort of stuff. And database admin team is used to manage the database. Then in functional areas, you will have sales and distribution, which is used to integrate your sales processes, all the sales processes that are there in your company. Then is the material management, which is used to manage the materials that are there in your company, the raw material procurement, buying the raw material or processing the raw material. All this comes under material management. Then is your supply chain management, wherein all the processes on how it should go, like first what should come in, after that which business process should be executed, once this is done, which should, where should it go, all these will be there in your supply chain management. Then is your plant maintenance. In plant maintenance, you will have all the manufacturing activities that are there in your company. Then finally, finance and accounting. So in finance and accounting is the final step, wherein you have created your product, you have sold your product, and you have received the monetary benefit. You have received the price or the value of your product. Then that's it. You will be closing it. That, so this is briefly about what SAP and how SAP works too. So in detail about SAP we'll go through in our next classes as well, as in what is the exact architecture of the SAP, how many layers do we have, what is exactly a database, how is data stored in these database tables, how can I extract it. So all these things we'll look into the upcoming sessions too. So for now, is anyone having any doubt? So you can be free to ask your doubt too, because the more you ask, the more you learn.